Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with Tea. We're coming up quick on the holiday season here. I think in a couple days it's going to be Christmas, depending on when this episode goes out. So, without further ado, this is going to be the final episode where I'm working on Christmas cards for this entire year. So if you've been enjoying these, then enjoy this one, because there won't be any more for possibly a year. And that's assuming I'm still doing videos in a year. You never really know where life will take you, right? So, unlike the previous episodes where I was finishing up my various Christmas cards, in this one, I don't jump right away into the flat filling of the card. For this card, I was picking around, trying to find the right colors for the line art, actually. So for this card, not only is it going to be flat filled and shaded, also the line work's going to be a bit softer, and I just prefer to do that. For cute cards and anything like this that just needs to be a little softer, a little less harsh, a little less extreme, it just kind of brings things together. Now, unfortunately, these colors that I'm using are so subtly close to black that I'm not sure how well you're seeing this right now, but there are color changes happening, and like right now I'm tracing over all the little red berries and red shapes to make the line work a dark red. I had actually thought about chopping out this entire section because I wasn't sure if it was even readable. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it, if you got it, if you want me to include everything, or if it didn't really read well, and maybe next time I should cut it out. So here I'm just selecting stuff, getting ready now to do the filling stage. Yeah, so there we go, there's the first color. So like in the Krampus episode and the one before it, basically how I've done this is I already had the color study underneath, so it's now a little bit of a tedious road as I select the areas of color from the inking layer and then fill those in on a separate layer. Basically what that means is there's a lot of points here where I pause, create a new layer, go back up to the ink layer, select the areas I need, go up to select, then modify, expand, then I click the click the layer, select the color I want, deselect the color study layer, go to the layer I need, and then fill the color in, and it's faster than me explaining it like I just did, but it does take time. And I left a lot of that in raw for this, in contrast to the previous episode where I cut a chunk of it out. It's kind of hard to catch it all. Let me know what you preferred, if you want to see every, blow by blow, or if you prefer me to just show you the good stuff, the action, the points where the cursor's moving, where color's getting filled in, stuff's getting shaded, versus me like making layers and whatnot. My personal preference is to show the action, not the blow by blow, show the action. But that's also because I don't really care about people's layers and stuff. That's something, I have my own preference or whatever, so I don't care so much about that. But I care deeply about what your guys' thoughts are on this, and yeah. So this is like this is the quote unquote the card this year. This is the continuation of the tradition where every year I make a Derpydeer or a Rudolph Christmas card. The character is Derpydeer to me, if you're just tuning in. Yeah, so this is that card. I did make another reindeer card, but that one is more of a redo of an old card that I had done. And this one is like, this is basically the big one that I expected everybody to want, to buy, that this would be the big seller. This is the card, and I love it. Almost everybody I show it to, they love it. Right now, at the point of me recording this, though, sales haven't been great. I've sold 6 cards. I bought many hundreds of various cards, and well, to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that changes by the time this airs. If you guys want to change it, unfortunately by the time you're probably seeing this episode, it's probably too late for me to get the cards to you in time, or for you to get them to the people that you would like to get them to. But, if you still want a really late Christmas card, please, contact me. Because I would love to sell you some cards. Heck, if you even just want this card for yourself, I ain't gonna judge you, man, because, heck, I spent, the hours making these cards because I just wanted them. I just like them for the sake that I like them. I like to make them. I like to put them on my wall. Actually, my wall is covered in all the cards I make, not really the cards people buy me, because they're kind of generic, those cards. The cards that have been made by my artist friends, those of course go up on the wall, and in fact, they go up on the wall and they don't come down, except for the very, very, very Christmassy ones. I just don't feel like staring at Santa every day of the year, but the more wintry generic ones tend to stay up quite a bit. But that's kind of a long tangent, basically. If you want to support me and it isn't Christmas time, and you're not feeling like buying a July Christmas card, I do have a coffee, and so if you do want to support me, there's a link in the description. It would mean a lot to me. I don't really make much money, at all. I make below minimum wage, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, guys. You don't have to worry about me being homeless all of a sudden, but it is a tight existence, but at least I get to do art, right? But yeah, so now I've basically filled everything in. I've now started shading. So this card, of course, is based on the one on the left, so I've stolen most of the colors from that card, and so I'm also now stealing the texture work that I kind of did. And back in 2017, when I made the card on the left, texture was just something that I felt I was terrible at, and I would never be good at, and it scared me, and so I didn't have any of the fancy watercolor textural brushes that everybody had, or maybe I did and I just didn't know how to use them. So my the conclusion I came to after many, many, many hours of trying textures and stuff, well, maybe it wasn't many hours, it was maybe, let's just say an hour of work, fiddling around, feeling terrible, trying to do textures. Basically, my solution was, let's take the basic brush that I always seem to use for everything, do some kind of gradient stuff, and then just do dots on everything. And to be honest, I think it worked. I really do. So here I am just repeating that. I basically just put dots on everything. I put slightly different dots on different stuff, to kind of make it look a little different from everything. But yeah, that's it. That's, I guess, proof that you don't have to, grab the digital oil paints to have quote-unquote texture. Yeah. So now here I am on to shading the wording. I really like this wording. I really liked how well I was able to integrate it into the actual food itself. If you want to up your card game, this is a very smart way of looking very, very professional. If you can get your words to sit within the card itself as part of the art, it does look really good, but you have to do it intelligently. What that means, you'll have to figure it out, because there's nothing I can say that will, fit. I cannot give you a shoe that will fit every foot in the world. The elephant and the kangaroo have different needs from man. I don't know where this analogy was going. I do apologize. Yeah. There's honestly, to be perfectly honest, I don't really know what else to say about this. All I'm doing is putting dots in places. I've got a shading layer, or many shading layers, and I'm just going in and, throwing some opacities on, throwing some light layers, exploring how much of a hard edge brush I want to use, or how much of a soft edge brush, or just that sort of stuff. Also, guys, would you let me know what you thought of this whole detour into Christmas cards and the holiday spirit? I was a little nervous to shoot this many Christmas episodes, but I was literally unable to do any other kind of content while I was doing this. And I am mainly recording at least these early episodes just for me. I don't have time in my life to put aside specific special time to do special art videos that are separate from the art I'm doing. I'm already capped out at 50 to 60 hours a week. That's of actual work done, not when I just sit down and do work. So that actually means, more than what, 12 hours? More than 12 hours a day, but often with, breaks and interruptions in between. So I just can't find 20 hours to do a polished review episode or, anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I guess this is turning out to be a little bit more of a journal vlog, and like an artist progress vlog series than it is an instructional series or an informative series. I don't know if that's of worth to anybody, but, I kind of made a pact that I would take this to 100 episodes, and if at 100 episodes nobody really cares, then, maybe I'll move on or do something different. But, what is this? We're only at episode 45. Not even quite halfway there. Anyways, here I am just applying a little bit of a light effect to the nose. That's just kind of a classic thing that I like to do. Here I am just changing the shading, kind of to emphasize that glow from the nose. In previous years, I used to go really overboard with the shine, like that was the main thing. But it caused a lot of troubles with the general lighting of the figure, and just stuff would get blown out, and it was kind of strange looking. So, yeah, I've kind of tooled it back a bit. And of course now here I am just shading Derpydeer, and Derpydeer is, in my head, different from Rudolph, for no other reason than I've been essentially drawing Rudolph for 10 years, and in 10 years stuff changes, and this character that started off as just a generic little Rudolph has turned into this very specific little tiny reindeer that shows up every Christmas, doesn't ever seem to grow. In fact, she's been kind of shrinking over the years. She can fit in a pudding now. In a previous year, she could fit in a coffee, in a hot chocolate mug or whatever it is on the left. You can decide whether it's hot chocolate or coffee. Heck, it could be tea if you wanted. I don't know. Maybe you like marshmallows and a cinnamon stick in your tea. But yeah, so the character has been around with me. So yeah, it's kind of a unique character to me. And here I am just being economical and reusing a logo that was, or not a logo, a signature that was there previously. And now I'm moving on to the other parts of the card. So here we've got the back of the card, and here I am just again shading in the line art using the colors that I had established from the front of the card. And this I do tweak a little bit here and there because it just felt a little different. And yeah, there's nothing really special about the back of this card. It's just a little Christmas pudding, really. I am curious though, if you have had a Christmas pudding, like a Christmas pudding that looks like this, can you guys please tell me so in the comments? Can you tell me how it tasted? Like, can you tell me anything about it? Because as far as my experience extends, this is just a cartoon thing, and I would like to know more about it. But on the other hand, I keep forgetting to look it up, and when you work 60 hours a week, you kind of would rather spend your time sleeping or having a nice bath or just spending 15 minutes playing solitaire, if you can, rather than just look up stuff on the internet. That was a weird tangent. Anyways, let's move on to the inside art. So there, for this card, both sides of the interior have art, and I'm really happy about that. Here's the right side, the one with Derpydeer. The other side has the pudding, and we'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, so this I decided to just flat fill it because this is potentially an area where people are going to write. I, however, chose not to fade this artwork out so much that it was very easy to write on it. I kind of wanted to prevent, deter people from scrawling on this beautiful, cute little Derpydeer, but I didn't want to provide them, of course, space to write, because it can be annoying when there's just so much going on. It's like, hey, you know, I bought this card to write a special message to somebody. You know, I'd like to be able to write that special message and not just have your generic whatever, you know, scrawled everywhere. Although, to be honest, I don't know if I've actually ever encountered a card where that was a problem. Outside of the person just printed the inside too dark, which again, I haven't really seen in real life. Like, I've heard of it. I've feared it happening myself, but yeah. Yeah, that's about it for this one. We're going to jump over to the other one here really soon, but I couldn't resist adding a little bit of shading right there to the nose. And here you see I'm kind of toggling a little bit with the lightness just to get it right, because the print shop does print it darker, and I didn't want it so dark that it just felt like it was fighting with all the other art. Yeah, here we're working on the pudding now. It's basically the same thing that I've done. You'll actually notice that I don't go in and color the line art for this. That's a mix of me just kind of being a little lazy, a little tired, and me also thinking it might not matter so much because it looks so subtle on the front and the back of the cards. I was just kind of, I don't know, I was eager to have this card done, shipped out to print, and then in my hands, ready to hand out to all the people that I was hoping would buy it that so far haven't, sadly. Fingers crossed, guys, that I did sell more. I'm not hoping to sell a whole bunch, but I do have like a small goal. It'd be nice to sell 10 to 15 cards at all this year. That, you know, that's a nice number. I sold a lot last year, but you know, I don't think I can expect myself to sell 100 cards, you know, this year. Like, that's just insane. Anyways, that's we're getting a bit off topic here. We're nearly done this episode, so guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, especially being kind of Christmas time. It'd be like, you know, a little Christmas gift. Anyways, have a good evening, guys. Have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next episode.